What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, please go down and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and if you have any questions whatsoever about the content that we go over today, go ahead and leave a comment and we will get back to you as soon as we possibly can. Now today we're going to be building on what we talked about last week, which was pre-approval. Once you have a pre-approval in hand, here comes the fun part. It's time to go home shopping. So I'm going to bring in Vonda Denny. She's a coworker of mine at Union Strong Real Estate and Mortgage. And she's going to walk us through some do's and don'ts during the home shopping period. Now, some people might think that you should just see every available house. Some people, just want to go on Zillow and check things out. But we actually do have some guidelines for you that can help you make the right decision for you and your family, whoever it may be. So without further ado, let's welcome in Vonda and let's get to it. All right, so welcome everybody. This is Vonda Denny. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Vonda.
Hi there, local resident for many, many years and a local realtor. Would love to chat with you if you have any questions, but today I'm talking to Jason.
So we've gotten through the pre-approval process. I'm pre-approved for whatever amount that I'm looking for. And I was just wondering, what is your suggestion for the first thing I should be doing after I get my pre-approval?
Great, that's a wonderful question. Pre-approval is number one always. After that, I like to have my buyers, if they're not familiar with the neighborhood, to get familiar with the neighborhoods in the town they think they want to live in.
Right.
So I encourage them to even just do that on the weekends if they can.
Sure.
That would be a recommendation of mine. Drive around, have lunch, maybe take a walk, get familiar with the town. Of course, in our area, we have lots of folks that are coming from other towns, likely the Bay Area, situations like that. So I encourage them to do that first, just for their own likes and dislikes.
Right. So that kind of feeds into my first idea is know the neighborhood that you want to move into and familiarize yourself with it, because location is much more important than the extra big laundry room or whatever you're looking for. The neighborhood that you live in is going to be the thing that makes you most comfortable. Secondarily is all the features of the house.
Definitely. I agree. Next, I would say, don't overshop your budget.
100%. This is something that everyone is guilty of, ourselves included. Yes, I'm definitely. Sure we're always on Zillow looking at the $1 million homes.
Right.
But,
shouldn't do that if you have half the budget. It is something, though, that in a market like this, I like to tell my folks, stay under your budget or just a couple of thousand over, and let's watch houses.
Right.
So we can do that for a couple of weeks at a time and get familiar with what's going on in those neighborhoods that we love.
Right. So in your opinion, what should I prioritize most of all after neighborhood? Then what is the wants versus needs, and what should I be prioritizing?
For sure. Obviously, most of that's based on your family. So if you know that you have 6 children and nothing smaller than a 4-bedroom is going to work for you, then we have to start there. Maybe there will be a property that has an office, a den. We can keep those in mind. But your family needs are very important. Right. So what kind of space do you need? What kind of bedrooms are we looking for? Can you do a 2-story? Right? Those kinds of things that are harder to change in a house later on. Like Jason mentioned earlier, maybe you can expand your laundry room at some point if you need to. You can get a stackable washer, dryer, right? There's things you can do space improvements. Not as easy to add a whole bedroom onto a house.
Right. Borderline impossible.
Right.
Right. Okay, so I find the house that kind of fits my needs in the neighborhood that I really want to live in. What's my kind of next step?
I think we start looking.
Right.
And I like to tell my folks too, it's a good idea to get inside a home often, and don't feel obviously your own needs in terms of your timing is everything. If you have to move in 30 days, we're going to go at a different speed. Right. But if you've got some time and you're just curious and trying to figure out exactly what you want, take some time and go see some houses. Right now, we're in a situation in this market where there are open houses. Yeah. So a lot of opportunity for you as a buyer to get inside properties, see what you like, see what you don't like, familiarize yourself with those types of finishes and all of that stuff that matters to you. And then when you're ready, when you're feeling more comfortable, we can get real serious about putting in offers and making it work for you.
Yeah, and I 100% agree. Once you find the neighborhood that you want to live in and you've kind of prioritized your wants versus your needs in your mind, I like to hit up every open house in that area. And especially if you're a first-time home buyer, look at the houses and envision yourself living in there. And they might, change some of your wants versus needs. You may decide that a 2-story is okay with you because you get such a bigger backyard in those cases because they have a smaller footprint. You may decide that laundry room doesn't need to be huge because all you're going to do is laundry. Like Rhonda said, a den may work as a bedroom for you, or a den may not work for you. So see houses, get ideas, and you can even get ideas to upgrade another house that you decide to buy. So see houses as much as possible. As far as private showings go, how do you feel about seeing, 50 houses versus...
Definitely. Well, there is a thing such as house overwhelm, and it is possible to see too many houses in a day because you forget. They start to run together. You get a little bit of fatigue. You're not as excited in the first as you are in the first 3 houses in the last 3. So seeing 12, again, if you're in a situation where it's what you need because you have to move quickly, we will do what you need. But if it's something that you can take a little slower, I like to say 5 to 6 houses max in a day with an agent for private showings.
100% agree. And even in those cases, I print off a sheet for my buyers that has kind of a checkbox of what they really, really want versus what they need, and a little space for them to take notes, because the more houses you see, even after 3 or 4, they kind of just start to blend together, especially if you're looking at one neighborhood and you don't kind of have that sense of where they are. They can just blend together, and you're thinking, and you end up wanting to make an offer on a house because you thought it had something, but it actually doesn't. So go back afterwards, look at pictures again, refamiliarize yourself with them, and before you start making a decision.
Agreed. Totally. That's a great tip. One thing I like to tell all of my buyers when they think they have found the one is to sleep on it.
Yeah.
I like for some time to be in place between seeing the house and falling in love with it and making the decision to pull the trigger. I also encourage them, after they've slept on it, have a good conversation with your lender, your mortgage broker, before putting the offer together, and make sure you know exactly the numbers and how that will look for you on a month-to-month basis.
Right. Yeah. And then as far as, I 100% agree with you that sleeping on it is key. There was a period of time where we kind of had to suggest against that because the faster you move, the faster you... We're not in that market anymore. You definitely have time at this point.
Right.
And we can kind of get a sense of that, but you at least have the weekend
Definitely.
for sure to make an offer these days. As far as making an offer goes, what are your tips for that? I have a couple as well, but do you suggest going in with the lowest possible offer and then coming up, or how do you typically work?
This is probably one of those situational advice places for me personally as an agent. I like to talk to my buyers about how they feel about this specific home. If it's a house that they're absolutely in love with, they haven't seen anything like it, and they just know it's for them, then I like to say, let's go in strong. Maybe not our strongest, but let's go in strong. Let's offer something that the seller is going to find appealing. And let's keep our timelines and everything in a place that's good for you as the buyer, but then also will satisfy a seller as well. Right. If it's a house that will work for you, but maybe isn't the house, then I would say, depending on that market, depending on what kind of a buyer you are, what kind of loan you're using, that type of thing, then maybe we will negotiate a little bit more.
Sure.
Maybe we don't put out our absolute highest and best right away. Maybe we come in with something that might be a little bit more negotiable, let's say.
Right, yeah. And I like to talk to the other agent, get as much information from them as I can. Mm-hmm. If I know that it's a super popular house, if I know that it's hard to get an appointment to see it because they're all booked up,
Right.
there may be less wiggle room for
Definitely.
negotiation there. Whereas if it's wide open, it's been on the market 50 days,
Right.
there's probably more room. One of the things that I like to say is don't fall in love with your first offer, and also don't think that every single offer demands a response from a buyer. If you're going to come in with a weak offer and expect them to respond, you may be disappointed. If you come in really, really low, sellers are human beings at the end of the day, and they make the decisions. The agent doesn't necessarily make the decision as to whether we respond or not. So they may just be offended and say, you know what, I don't want to deal with these people.
That's absolutely true.
It happens all the time.
Yeah. Another piece of advice that I do like to remind my buyers on that is good all the time, on top of sleeping on it, when you make a big decision, is that there will always be another house.
Right.
It doesn't feel like it in some markets and in some neighborhoods, but there will be another house. If you're not in a hurry, if you're not working against a deadline, there will be another house. And I think it's our homes are where we grow our families, right? Where we feel safe and loved. So there's definitely an emotional component.
Definitely.
You can't. But when it comes to the business part of owning and buying real estate, if you can keep the emotion out of it as best as you possibly can, you'll have more success.
Right. Yeah, that there is that kind of gut feeling that when you walk into the house that you definitely want. Whereas some other houses may have checked all the boxes technically, but it didn't quite feel right, and then you walk into another one and it just feels amazing. Follow your instincts as far as that goes, but try to check that as much as possible when it comes to the actual negotiations.
Definitely.
You definitely want to stay within your budget. You definitely don't want to overbid based on emotions. Try to make the best business decision as you can, but also don't let your emotions get in the way of making a good offer either. Don't think that I'm making this offer, they should be, excited that they're getting an offer and definitely respond to me. And just because you want a smoking deal doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get one. So check your emotions as far as that goes too. We are here to guide you and let you know what type of offer you can make. At the end of the day, it's obviously your decision how much we offer and the terms that we offer on. But we know what we're doing as far as that goes. So try to take everything in that we're telling you and try to make a good offer that if we're trying to get a deal, it'll be lower, but it'll be something that they'll respond to. If it's something you love and we want to make the best offer we can, then we follow that route.
I agree.
So we also know that the purchase price isn't necessarily the only tool that we have in the offer toolkit. What are some ways to strengthen our offer that are not purchase price based?
Sure. Contingency timeframes is one. These are built-in timeframes that are there to protect you as the buyer, to protect your earnest money. It gives you an opportunity to look into the house on the inspection side. The appraisal is done in that time period. Your loan is worked through by your lender and her mortgage team or his mortgage team. All of those have a set timeline in every contract, but they can be reduced and they can be shortened. And some sellers really like the idea of knowing that you're going to be diligent and get your inspections done quickly. In a lot of real estate transactions, if there's going to be hiccups in a transaction, it's potentially going to come during the inspection contingency, during that inspection time when you're having a roof guy come to the house, a pest guy come to the house. It can also happen during the appraisal. That's another hiccup potential in a real estate transaction. So sellers, I think my sellers have always been comfortable knowing that a buyer is going to be diligent and get those tasks accomplished as quickly as possible. So if your agent is helping you and is able to say, we can get these inspections done in a week instead of 2.5 weeks, that a seller might find that very attractive.
Very attractive, because as we all know, the longer a house is on the market, kind of the less heat it has. Yeah. So if something is going to come up in the inspection or appraisal process that's going to cause the contract to be nullified for whatever reason, the more quickly that can happen, the more quickly they can get it back on the market. They appreciate that.
For sure. We can also put down a little bit bigger earnest money deposit. That looks strong to a seller. We can also discuss potentially taking on some of the closing costs like title and escrow fees, maybe taking that on as the buyer if it works into the numbers. Some of those things can be discussed and can also look good in the offer as well.
100%, 100%. And if you're in a situation where you're going to have a ton of money down, there's even the possibility of waiving the appraisal price, because you will have bridge funds to cover any appraisal shortfall.
That's right. It's another good one. I also think being able to close escrow quickly, obviously, probably on our vacant homes, it's a stronger term. Usually when a family is living and occupying the home, they need the time to move. But if you can, speak with your lender and your agent, if you're able to offer a shorter close of escrow instead of the standard 30 days, maybe your lender is able to get it done in 21 days. Yeah. Definitely on the vacant houses, that can be a great term that a seller is going to find very attractive.
100%. And again, that goes back to doing your due diligence in the pre-approval process. The further down the line you can get with your pre-approval, even getting desk underwritten,
yes,
the more quickly you can close, and that can be very attractive to, again, vacant homes, investment homes that people are selling, things like that.
Definitely, sure.
One definite thing to note is that once your pre-approval is locked, leave your credit alone. We all have horror stories.
Amen.
So what by that I mean, like, what?
Don't go buy a boat. Don't go buy a new car. Don't open up any credit cards, even if it just sounds really, really tempting because it's a great deal at the Apple Store or at Costco even. No new lines of credit. I like to tell my buyers, your lender is your money boss until we close this escrow, until the house is officially yours. So if you have a money question at all, even if it's something out of the ordinary, your normal bills, of course, that's already accounted 100%. For. But if your refrigerator goes out, if your your AC, whatever comes in that 30-day window while your home is in escrow, if it's a big dollar amount, call your lender and have a conversation with him or her.
Yeah. Honestly, I like to say if it's a purchase of more than 1% of your credit card balance or your credit card max,
that's good.
Just ask, and we can talk to the lender, because they know everything about your credit at that point. Right. And they can give you the okay or not the okay, because I've seen deals fall apart over a $500 purchase before.
Absolutely.
You throw that on a credit card that's at 39%, and now it's at 41 or 45. That can change everything. So.
That's right. Your debt to income ratio is a big part of your loan process and your qualifying, and we don't want to mess with that.
Yeah. If you can help it, just leave all lines of credit alone.
Yes.
Do not open anything new, and don't make any large purchases whatsoever until after you close. The day after you close,
go crazy.
But wink, wink. But yeah, just leave it all alone.
That's right.
Okay, so that about wraps it up. In the next video, I'll be going over the contract in excruciating detail, but I want you guys as educated as possible. So to wrap this section up, what are the bullet points of this?
I think it's okay to take your time, be patient, find your neighborhoods, find the houses and the layouts that you like, keep in contact with your lender, don't make any big purchases when you're in escrow, trust your agent, and wait till closing day.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ron. I appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you, Jason.